In this video, we'll be discussing 10 tips for writing clean and efficient code. These tips can be applied to any programming language and will help you write code that is easy to understand, maintain, and debug. The first tip is to use meaningful variable and function names. Choose names that accurately describe their purpose. This will make it easier for others to understand your code and reduce the chances of errors. The second tip is to keep your code organized. Use indentation, blank lines, and comments to make your code easy to read. This will make it easier for others to understand your code and reduce the chances of errors. Tip number 3 is to use functions to break up your code. Breaking your code into small, reusable functions makes it easier to understand, test, and debug. Tip number 4 is to use a consistent coding style. Following a consistent style guide such as PEP 8 for Python, Google's Java Style Guide, or Airbnb's JavaScript Style Guide will make it easier for others to read and understand your code. Tip number 5 is to avoid hard coding values. Instead, use constants or variables with meaningful names. Tip number 6 is to use version control. Tools like Git make it easy to track changes to your code and collaborate with others. Tip number 7 is to test your code thoroughly. This will catch any bugs early on and save you time and effort in the long run. Tip number 8 is to avoid copy-pasting code. Instead, use functions or classes to reuse code. Tip number 9 is to take advantage of libraries and frameworks. These tools can help you avoid reinventing the wheel and make it easier to write clean and efficient code. And finally, tip number 10 is to keep learning and practicing. There are many resources available online, such as tutorials and documentation, to help you improve your skills. Remember, writing clean and efficient code takes practice and attention to detail. In conclusion, by following these tips for writing clean and efficient code, you can improve your skills as a developer and create code that is easy to understand, maintain, and debug. Remember to use meaningful variable and function names. Keep your code organized. Break up your code into small functions. Use a consistent coding style. Avoid hard coding values. Use version control. Test your code thoroughly. Avoid copy-pasting code. Use libraries and frameworks. And keep learning and practicing. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more coding tips.